Stephen LaMarca is AMT's Manufacturing Technology Analyst. He has a background in physics and a passion for all things mechanical, namely automobiles, clocks, and, mac and cheese?
Mac and cheese! Hey, give me that back.
Join him on a road trip across the country as he seeks out the world's top innovators in manufacturing. Let's check in to see where Steve is now.
Buongiorno, pioneers. Come with me along a manufacturing technology road trip across New England and New Jersey and the East.
From the rocks and rivers, all across the city skyline, the world's much bigger than you may have realized. Let's go. It's a beautiful day. We're getting back on the road. All the places you'll go, road tripping with Steve.
For such an exploration in the latest manufacturing technology, we can use none other than the pinnacle of automotive technology. All right, we are on our way to Windsor, Vermont to visit the American Precision Museum. I am super stoked to go here because at AMT, it's really easy to get lost in the sauce of the latest manufacturing technology, you know, the transformational technologies, Industry 4.0, 5G, when often we forget to look back to where it all began. I'm gonna see things that make the Bridgeport knee mill look like the latest and greatest machine tools. We're gonna see things older than that are far more established, where it all began. So come with me and join me on an adventure back in time to see where everything started. Hey guys!
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Vermont.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to be back.
You gotta do it this way.
That's right.
Yep. Welcome to the American Precision Museum.
Thank you, sir. I'm really happy to be here. Let's go see some original metal.
We're going to enter into the Robbins and Lawrence Gallery. Robbins and Lawrence were the founders of this armory, along with another gentleman, Kendall.
So this was originally an armory.
This building was built in 1846 as an armory.
Okay.
Its location is critical because it was next to the water. Mm-hmm. And of course, in the 1850s, you needed water power to have a factory.
This is really an American entrepreneur story. There was a bid that the United States government created in the mid-1840s for military rifles, but the differentiator was they had to have interchangeable or replaceable parts.
Right.
And it was done with the anticipation of automating the process with machinery.
Absolutely. And you even mentioned earlier that this goes so far back that the machine tool wasn't even a term yet.
That's right.
These aren't considered machine tools. They were just, this is some repeatable device.
Yeah, so
It was just a machine.
It was just a machine.
It
Yeah.
was just a machine. Okay, so the first machine that we're going to be talking about real quick is a duplicating lathe, or a tracer lathe as we might know it. In order to take the craftsman's hand off of the hand filing and fitting, they created a steel pattern or a master, and then a wheel would follow that pattern, driving the cutter into the gun stock, into the raw stock. And what was starting to take shape was a process that used to take 16 hours by hand. Suddenly now we can do 12 to 16 per hour. The next machine in our tour here is a horizontal milling machine that was created right here in the armory and invented right here in the armory. What's important to note about this, however, is the cutter. it's a form tool or form cutter that was created so that the profile of the lock plate could be cut all in one operation.
Right.
So now we have a gun stock and a lock plate. They've got to be married together very precisely.
Right.
So they created another machine called an inletting machine. And this machine is a stack of patterns, one on top of each other. And each pattern has a different shape and a different level of the pocket that goes in the side of the musket stock. While that was done, this belt would walk from one position to an idling position, the water still turning everything. They would then index the entire mechanism to bring in another probe and another cutter to cut a different spot on the patterns.
So this is your early tool changer.
This is a good example of an early,
this is
very
one of the
early
first
tool
magazines.
magazines, right, exactly. Before we continue on, I just wanted to show you quickly the line shafting.
Whoa!
And there's one machine that we have connected to the line shaft. But one of the things I wanted to point out, or I like to point out to visitors, is I'm using one finger to turn all of the process. So you can see there was precision even in the mechanism that was used to drive all the machines.
It's like,
as well.
Man, I feel like it's not fair that people often refer to something like this as being clockwork when
Yes,
it's the other way around.
Right.
Clocks
Exactly.
were made from stuff like this.
So late 1800s, early 1900s, pocket watches become the rage.
Right.
And of course, pocket watches have all little screws inside them. So how do you do that? You create a screw machine. It's quite amazing that they can bring coil stock in and get screws out via one motor and all cams and levers and followers.
Wow.
10,000 screws per day could be made on this machine.
And now I've been told by some of my colleagues that I really need to look into screw machines, and this is the first one I've seen in person. And I've been told that these are relatively like bulletproof machines. Like these never failed. Like they are incredibly reliable machines.
Figuring that this one's over 100 years old, I'd say that it's still there. So if we turn around now,
the classic.
the classic Bridgeport, right?
Every shop's got one.
Every shop's got
and
one.
every shop should have one.
Should have one. But this one's claim to fame. Important to note, it's serial number 1.
No way.
Yes, way. It's serial number 1, made in 1938. Its provenance came from Bridgeport itself, so we do know it's truly serial number 1. This is it. This is where it all starts from.
That's really cool. Wonder if it runs MT Connect. No.
So we had to sort of convert the industry now, right? We had to start getting people to think, shops that had manual Bridgeports, to start thinking about CNC.
Right.
So companies like Heidenheim, who's a sponsor to our museum, created retrofits to fit onto the Bridgeports.
Wow. That's a CNC adapted Bridgeport knee mill.
Right.
Wow. That'll probably MT Connect.
Maybe. So now we come to our Haas. We saw how we retrofitted a Bridgeport, and now we morph into fully CNC controlled and tool changing and so forth that goes with it.
That's really wild.
So the reason for this portion of the museum is that, okay, we have a fantastic collection of old stuff, but what's the relevance to what's going on today? So we've created an education program for the area's youth to be able to come in and learn the joy of making things with the backdrop of what happened here at the museum.
Where it all came from.
If we're going to interest these young people into getting into manufacturing, their parents have to understand that there are good careers, they're clean, they require STEM skills, and a lot of fulfillment comes to the trustees in sustaining this kind of a program that is really advocating for American manufacturing.
Well, thank you so much for showing us the timeline of
Yes, that's our
manufacturing history.
Yes.
Just the machine tool, the term the machine tool originated here. Manufacturing industry originated here. Precision and repeatability with manufacturing started here as well. That's wild.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having us. shows how insanely steep New England stairs are. You can hurt yourself on these, man.
All right, we're recording this time, for real.
All right, man. So it is Tuesday night. We are currently in New Hampshire, right? Yeah, we're in New Hampshire, New England, of course, on our tour of New England. And we just finished our first day, which our first stop was in Windsor, Vermont at the American Precision Museum. And it was a really fascinating, eye-opening, enlightening, and educating experience going to the American Precision Museum. And before we got there, I thought I didn't think in depth enough about the key word in the title of that museum, which is precision. And I wrongly even assumed that they were talking about with precision accuracy, which obviously is not the same. They're used in a similar manner, but they mean different things. Accuracy is how exact and how correct something is, and precision is how consistent something is, how repeatable something is. The products at the time were hand fit. They weren't precision. They were accurate, but they weren't precision. See where we're going? And the American Precision Museum showed the invention of a lot of machines and the use of a lot of tools to make a batch of parts go with a batch of products in that interchangeability. And it totally filled the gap that my public education totally missed. And it was a real pleasure going on this trip, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too.